Hey YouTube, here it is. Finally got my hands on the Tessstudio's running boards. I think they are awesome. I'm going to unbox them, review them, and show you the install process. So stay tuned for this awesome new product. All right, YouTube, here are my installed running boards. They look absolutely amazing. I'm very, very happy with them. Just again, I give you a look here how this looks during the day. Going up to the driver's side. Again, I think that looks really cool. Give you a little bit of a close-up here. So again, really the great thing about these is the fact that they're flush with the side skirt, and I want to make sure you guys can see that here. That's really what's important here for me, is that this does not go down and really a bit below the actual truck. It sits right up there at the bottom part of the side skirt, and really the only ground clearance that's affected there is just the 5 brackets. Again, it's about 1.25 inches, which is not a big deal. But this is why I like these running boards. It's because of the fact that it doesn't sit all the way down. Because right now, my truck is in the low mode, and this is not even, it's not even in the entry mode. So if I put it in the entry mode, it will get even lower. So I don't want that getting, I don't want the running boards getting any lower than what the truck is, which is really why these are great. And also, if I go off-roading, I don't want that to impact my ground clearance too much. So again, I think it looks great. This is a great design. Here's another close-up look. This is just a really nice design by Tessstudio with that Cybertruck logo there. Here's the passenger view. And again, I want to show you here why I really like these. And again, here's the side skirt. Here's a close-up here of the bracket and the side skirt, which is right here. This is the bottom of the side skirt here, so you can see that this actually goes up or further. You can see the other side there again. As far as there's no running board going down, it's just the brackets that hang out about 1.25 inches, and that's it. This is why I like these. There's another use case for these is the fact that you can stand on these and get to the top of the truck. So right now, as it stands, I'll show this later on in my video, but I'm about 5'9". I can kind of get over here a bit, but if I just were to stand up on here, I mean, I got a lot more clearance here, and I can kind of walk all the way through here, and even get back to the up here, which is really cool. Before I would use a step stool. Again, I'm going to show this later on in my video with the install process, but this is really cool. Even coming up to here, I can walk all the way up here. I can get pretty darn close to the middle of the windshield, which is really nice. Again, another use for these running boards. Okay, thank you again to Tessstudios for giving me a slight discount so I can buy these, but I really paid for most of these, and I highly recommend them. Thank you again for watching, and thank you again to Tessstudios. I have the running boards here from Tessstudios. that I'm going to unbox and install. And I've been really looking forward to these because these running boards really made me finally buy a set of running boards for my Cybertruck. I kind of contemplated this for some time, and I think these are the right ones just because there's several reasons, and I'll kind of explain to you why this set made me choose to finally get running boards for my Cybertruck. I did have some concerns. Is it going to reduce my range in any way because of aerodynamics, and is it going to affect the height if I go off-roading, as far as my ground clearance? I think these solve a lot of the concerns I had, and also just the way that they're designed. Was just the attachment with just one bolt. It kind of preserves the area there. If you underneath the truck, which I'll show you, that you can still put it on the lift. You don't have to take your running boards off to be able to put it on a hydraulic lift. So let's first dive into the areas that it's going to be plugged into, and then unbox it, and we'll go from there. All right, so I've cut open the box here, just kind of looking into it here. Looks like that there are boxes here labeled left and right, and it looks like they're here all the screws and tools, which we'll put out and go over. Here are the instructions, and we'll go through these step by step, and I'll start pulling things out here. Okay, so I've laid them out here. So there's going to be 5 brackets that are going to go in the holes that are already there under the Cybertruck, which I'll show you in a minute. So essentially, this is the setup here for each side. It's one unit here. As far as the running board, there's 5 brackets. The brackets are held on by this one screw here. And what's nice about this new setup that they're sending out, they're actually showing you where it goes into. There's a right and a left here, and as I showed you earlier, the packages are all labeled right and left. Essentially, left means driver's side and right means passenger. So really there's no concern here as far as where you put it, because this is going to go upside down like this. But what's nice is now that they've labeled the R and L, so you know where to put the bracket. So we're gonna put one screw in here that's going to go underneath the Cybertruck, and then there's going to be 2 screws here that will attach to the running board, which I will show. Essentially, the instructions are here. So you have the running board labeled right and left, and you have the 2 screws there, and the 10 brackets, 5 on each side. And they lay out pretty easy here as far as where it goes on the bottom of the Cybertruck, and how to position it here. And there are different ways of doing this. You can put them all together loosely and then put the running board on top, and then kind of see how it comes along, or you can just put the 2 outer ones. I'll probably just put them all on and kind of see how it goes. But that's essentially all the instruction here. There's nothing else. It's pretty simple. They say it should take about a half hour to install. So here are the preset hole. This is the preset hole here, and you can see the other one down here, and they keep going down there for the total of 5. Again, what's nice about this is that when you place this on top here, you have room here to lift the car. So this is the area here where if you're going to put it on lift, this is where it's going to go, and you have another one on this side here, which I'll show you again. There it is on the back side. So we are able to have this bracket on without really affecting the area where they could lift it. As far as I know, they will still be able to lift it because this running board comes up flush with this. And so unless I'm mistaken, we don't have to remove the running board or these brackets to put this on a lift and change tires. That's my understanding of this setup. This is why I finally decided to go with the running boards, because that was one of the main things I was concerned about. Is I have to lift this up every time I get my tires. That's a big no. I hope I don't have to do that. My understanding is you don't. We'll take a look at this after I put them all together to see how it comes through. The screw setup is pretty simple. So it's just the screw and this small washer here, and this larger washer that goes on top, and that's really it. And this way I have them all set up here to go. Again, one goes on the actual bracket onto the truck, which is interesting. It's just one screw, but again, you have 5 brackets, whereas some of the other ones out there, you have 4 brackets, but they have 2 screws in each bracket. So it should hold up, but let's put it on and see how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. They do give you a little wrench socket here, but I think first off we're just going to put it on by hand. So again, this is going to go up like this, and this is going to go on the left. Obviously, I'll have to use that socket to get it in. Oops. Okay. So just to kind of give you that setup here, I did put it on loose, but I put it on the left side here. And so the question is how far do we bring it up? I think probably I'm going to bring it up all the way back, and that's going to sit up like that. And that's pretty much how it's going to stick out here. Okay, here goes part 2, or the second bracket, I should say. I was able to screw this one in pretty easy by hand. Now remember, I'm pulling it all the way back here, because I want this to stick out, and I want it really to get it caught in the groove here, this back part here. So I don't want it to here, I kind of want it right there. So I'm pulling this back as much as I can, so that pulling this back as much as I can, so that screw is sitting on top there, and so this kind of can sit here, just like this one. So far, we have the first and second on. Again, I put them on loose just because we want to be able to move them around. So yeah, I'm gonna go on to place the next 3. Okay, guys, here's the last one I'm gonna put on. So you see here, it says lift point. This is kind of nice. This is where this is where you put on a jack, and here's the hole here. So it's, put this switch. So that's what's nice about this unit, is that you preserve that lift point. I know I can't remember which one it was, but there was one. Again, I'm not here to favor one or the other, but this is the decision that did it for me. I know there's other ones where you had to take the brackets off, because I think you had to use this screw, and then you have to use this screw, and it kind of got in the way of this. I can't remember which screw it was, but and anyway, you use one of these screws, and you kind of got in the way of this, and that was kind of for me at least. I didn't want to have to take this thing apart just to get my just put on a jack and get my tires changed. So that's why I went with this. That's one of the reasons why I chose this product. There it is. So I've put this in. Oops, sorry. So I have all of them in. And for the most part, I've just had to do it by hand to screw this part loosely by hand. I have all 4 brackets here in place, just very loosely. This actually is different than what they used to send in the other videos that I've seen. This actually is long enough, and it actually, so far, working well. I didn't have to use my own, but here are the brackets in place here, as you can see, loosely. And I'm gonna put the running board on and kind of see how it goes together, and then I'll tighten them all. But that was really easy. Essentially just screwed them on by hand. There are some little scratches on here, but you won't really, those won't really show once you put the running board on. Okay, it's time to put the running board on. Again, this was the left, just like everything else. So, just so you guys can see that there are these areas where the brackets go, the 2 holes there. So it fits on pretty well there. So that was, again, there's different ways of how you can install the brackets. I essentially installed them one by one. Because it's laid out so well with the right and left, I really didn't think I needed to do it another way. I thought that would work fine. Took a risk, but it worked out. Now I just have to go underneath and stabilize them. Now what I have to decide, and what you all have to decide at this point, is when you put this on, do you create some space? Do you make it completely tight? You can kind of see how there's a little bit of a divot here and here, and that kind of should match that little pointy divot there. So that's kind of where you want it. I want it just to get a little bit, because I don't want it to be flush with that, even though I have this nice protective cover here from Sliplo, which is in my other video. You can see I have it all over my truck on my trim. You can look at my other videos for that. I still don't want it to be flush, especially if you don't have this. You probably don't want to do it flush, because if you're going to go off-roading and if it smashes or bends or moves, you're going to dig into that. So I would want a little bit of an opening there, especially if I want to wash it. I want the water to run through. I want to be able to get it clean. So I want a little bit of space in here. You guys might do it differently, but I want a little bit of space in here. So again, people do it their own way, but that's how I'm going to set this up, and we'll see how that goes. And that does mean it'll stick out a little bit more. I don't really think it's going to ruin my aerodynamics. I really don't think this is. It's good quality. It's definitely not light. It's good quality, but I don't think it's going to add that much weight to it. And it already looks awesome just the way it is right now on the truck. This thing looks pretty sick. So let's put it together and see how it goes. I guess we're here, and you can see there that there are 2 holes there underneath the bracket. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm getting this right, but there are 2 holes there underneath the bracket where the screw is going to go. Okay, and it's basically the same setup. It just goes in here. So I'm going to put that together here. Not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see that, but let's try to get it done. Probably going to resort to using my socket wrench here. Okay. So this is Okay, so at this point, this is not going to reach, so I'm going to have to get my own socket wrench. Okay. Got my own socket wrench. It's a 1/2 inch. Okay, almost there. Okay, all right, let's keep that a little bit loose. So those screws are in. Okay, but again, it's still a bit loose. So we're gonna go on to the next one down here. So what I did use is just got my own socket wrench. I got an extender. Again, it's a 1/2 inch. Just, I think you're gonna need it to get into these ones here because they're a bit deep. All right. So now here again, you just move the bracket here, this whole bracket, since I have it a little bit loose, so that you align it with the holes. And that's really all it takes. And I think for the most part, you can put it in by hand. Some might be a little bit more difficult, but again, you're gonna need that socket wrench and extender to put the rest in. So that's one. And the second one. Second one's a little harder to put in, the one, because you're kind of right next to this groove here. So it's a little harder especially if you got kind of fatty fingers like me. So from this point on, I'm just going to use the socket wrench and do the rest. Okay, and I'll do it and come back when it's all done. Okay, so I am all done with the brackets and the screws. They're all in. All in there. And again, one of the reasons that I went with this model is really because you can see how this is the end of the side skirt there, and it's sitting actually just right there and right above it, so it's pretty flush with this. So your ground clearance is pretty. It's not affected that much. Well, let me measure it and tell you exactly how much it affects. So from the furthest part, looking at it here, from the furthest part down, because this kind of angles up as far as this here. If we can give you a good, here it kind of goes up. So this is the furthest part down, and it's about 1.25 inches. So you lose, so you're gonna, if you go off-roading, you're gonna probably hit like 1 inch, you lose a little bit, 1.25 inches. I'm on the ride height is high right now, but yeah, so it does reduce your ground clearance somewhat if you're gonna hit a rock, and these are not rock crawlers, so these can bend if you go over a rock and can be damaged, but again, it's pretty minimal ground clearance when you're really looking at it here. That's really all there is, because the actual running board, it does not affect your ground clearance. It is, again, pretty much flush with the side skirt there, and the only thing that's affecting you is just your bracket. And so that's pretty nice. I think the others kind of go down a little bit further, and that's what I was concerned of. But I can live with this. This is not bad. Okay, so now all I really have to do is just tighten the bolts. But what I'm going to do before I tighten them, I'm just going to, I already pretty much push this out. I pulled it out, I should say, earlier. And so you can see I do have an opening there. Looks like it's a little more here than it is at the other end, but and I do have an opening here. I do have a little bit open here. Again, I can always see if we can get that. So then I can always make room to you know, from a little more opening. I want to make sure it doesn't touch, which it doesn't. And now I'm just gonna tighten them up. I guess this is the final product here. It looks really cool. Let's see how it works with me standing on it. That's pretty darn sturdy. What I just realized is how well I can clean up here now without having to use a step stool. I'll show you guys. As I walk here and I get up on here. So right now, just as a reference here, I'm about 5'9", 5'10", around there. And you know, I gotta get a step stool to get on here. And so, but let's just see, when I step on this, I'm pretty much all the way on top here. I can clean my windows. I don't really need to get my step stool that is sitting right there. Okay, so I can just pretty much clean here, which is kind of nice, and I can kind of walk all over here to do so. That is actually pretty cool. That is a specific use for this product that I did not think about. So I did realize here that it's I like this distance in here, but as we kind of get here, it's a little bit tight. As we get kind of here, it's actually fine. So I might just unscrew one of probably these two brackets here and just pull it out a little more. So the trick, I think, to making sure that this doesn't go all the way when you're tightening it is, as you are tightening it, I think you just have to keep pulling on it. You guys see we are on the right side. Got all the brackets in. Same setup. Then you put it on loosely. And I'm gonna get ready to put on the running board. All right, here we go, guys. On the right side, passenger side, it is on. So at this point, I'm just gonna bolt it, get it to my liking, and then I'll show you the final product. I guess I'm done with the right side, passenger side. Looking at an interesting view here of the other side, and just to kind of, again, look at ground clearance and the bottom plate here. You can kind of see the brackets there. It's pretty minimal. However, you know, when you go off-roading, can those get stuck on some rocks? Yeah, they can. They'll probably scratch and bend a little bit, but you won't be able to see it because it's on the bottom. It's not a significant difference, so I'm actually pretty happy with that. It really does not add that much of a, it does not really decrease your ground clearance that much, so I think it's a pretty good setup. And here they are. Here's the right side, all done, bolted in. I think it looks really cool. Just the way this looks with the truck. Okay, I get a final shot here with everything cleaned up. Okay, here we go. This is the final product. It looks really cool. I'll get some daytime shots, but this thing really looks cool. Got the other side. And these shots don't really do it too much justice. Just as I'm looking through this video, I'll get some daytime shots, but especially in this high mode, it looks really cool. They just look like they belong, which is really cool. This area is touching a little bit, which I'm not too thrilled with, but I'll see if I can play with that a little more. This side looks to be okay. Great product. We'll get some daytime shots.